So as promised, we have a more practical demonstration of some of the sculpting tools. So if you'd like an overview of some of the tools, you know, individually, that is in the other video. But I was modeling a plushie, same as everyone else was for this week's assignment. This is meant to be a grunty. This is a grunty. And I got through with a lot of the like extruding certain parts and building it up, and it got to the face and proceeded to muck up everything. And as I was going through my list of things that I could do to fix this mess, my first thought was actually to certain sculpting tools. And then I thought to myself, well, gee, maybe if I'm going to use that, I should give that as a tool for this assignment to the students. So this is what inspired this week's choice of subject. So I'm going to turn on symmetry, and I'm going to actually grab the there we go, relax tool. It's one that says smooth the surface of a mesh without changing its original shape. And I wish I could see. Okay, these ones show it. So apparently these sculpting tools for some reason don't say what the tool is, which is unfortunate. And just for this, I'll bring this up here. I do tend to use the hotkeys to change brush and strength size, but for the purposes of working in this class, I'll be leaving this up here. So the reason I want to start with this is because you can see like there's some stuff I added here that I added late to the game. So they didn't get expanded out like this. So these need to, oh no, I definitely need to bring that strength up a bit. And I do tend to work a little bit slowly. When I'm doing this kind of thing, it's a little less undoable than some other things. And wait, did I turn off? Oh, for heaven's sake, stand by. Symmetry ended up turned off. So I don't know what I pressed to make that happen, but obviously that's not going to work. Bring up the strength a little bit. Whoa. Yeah, so you can see that by turning that strength up even just to 16, that's having quite a marked effect on that. If I go over here, just really need to look at this nonsense. All my edge loops are just all over the place, and it's maintaining its shape, which means it is maintaining this particular problem I have over here. That'll be something that I fix a little bit later. I have to decide. I'm working a little bit faster than I usually do, a little bit harsher, so I can show you how this works. I don't usually just go around throwing all the vertexes everywhere like this. But you can see how the relax tool, at the edges, it is changing the shape a little bit. That's okay, frankly. And you can see the little dot? That's where it's mirroring. Right, so looking a little better already in terms of the distribution of the edge loops. It's not affecting the shape too much yet. I have plenty of shape problems in this. We'll be fixing those in a minute, but I kind of wanted to, there we go, fix the edge loop problem first because you can see it is changing the shape a bit. So like, why am I gonna fix the shape and then fix the edge loops, which changes the shape? You know, that's just a big giant circle there. All right, and I'm trying real hard not to touch the collar because I have some sharper edge loops in there on purpose. So we're gonna, whoa, yeah, that's probably too much, but at least we can see it at work. I wonder what it'll do to the collar. Yeah, see, we don't like that. It pinched the collar in. So if I wanted to, there we go, change this one manually, I could turn my move tool to transform constraint surface. And that one, there we go, these couple ones here, I should be able to change that edge loop around the head a little bit. There we go. Make that edge loop a little bit better just manually and leave the collar alone. Or I could have been smart and not do the collar until later. You pick your poisons when it comes to stuff like this. But yeah, you can see that I can, by constraining this to the surface, I'm basically doing what the relax tool does manually. And of course, after I do this, I'm probably going to have to go back in and fix it with the relax tool again a little bit. Once I'm done, I turn this to off, the transform constraint, because I definitely don't want that on. The whole, like, I want to make sure I remember to change that back because I don't use that very often. Go back to the relax tool. Now we can I can actually turn the strength down on this a little bit to gently relax things. All right, but we can see I've got much better edge loop results. They're looking more edge loopy and a little less like frantically all over the place. And so then the next step, a couple different next steps I can take, and one of them might be to smooth it. And again, this one I definitely would bring the strength down and test it to see what happens. So as I work on this, like I'm looking at this here, this problem. Let me grab a regular tool for a second. This is a problem. The lighting should not be doing that. And so I have to figure out what it's trying to tell me. And it's not telling me that there's the type of problem where there's like a hidden face. That is not the problem here. The problem here is that I have some highly non-planar geometry, which can be confirmed if I really needed to with cleanup. And oh, look, I was looking for non-planar earlier. Well, the whole thing is non-planar at this point, but this is like a more severe version of that. So I need to really take a look at what's going on in here. Probably insert another edge loop, which unfortunately oh, it is working there. Good. I saw these 5-sideds and thought maybe there'd be a problem. And you can see I do that, and suddenly the area that's a problem shrinks. Then I go back to this, and not that small. Maybe by using my smooth tool a little bit, I can start to, it's because it's pinched in too. So we're gonna, start to smooth that out. We can also, it's another one. You can go back and forth between tools, see which one's gonna work better. And there is another, way too much. I can also, nope. I got to go back to a regular tool before I can get this. You can always turn back to this for a little while if you need to see if that can be dealt with. Another reason why it might be giving me problems is, let me go into face mode for a second and select some of these faces. It might be a mesh display thing. So I can go over here to average, see if that works out a little bit, or to conform them, or that was soften edge. Conform, make sure they're all conformed. They are all conformed. Part of me actually just wants to delete edge vertex. There we go. So what this is telling me is one of a couple things. Either they were still indented, or it was an artifact from when I built it. And just something from when I built it said nope. And it wasn't ever going to go away. There still is a little bit of shading under here. That's fine. But what I can do now is I can either grab this whole edge loop and bring it up, or to kind of put it more in the middle, or I could go back to my, nope, I want the relax. I can go back to the relax tool, and it'll kind of help me space things out. And then I can use the smooth tool again over here. This is another problem area I've been having. There's a couple of pinched in areas over here. Yikes. And again, I think this is an artifact from when I was building it. I think these are areas that used to be like the edge, kind of like down here. So they think they should be shaded differently, and then they weren't, because I changed them. And they're, well, I don't want that. There we go. And they're basically still not listening. Well, that definitely didn't help at all. So there's a couple different solutions I can have. I can keep trying to, figure things out here, or again, I can't always do stuff like this, and I can bridge things together. And remember, if we have symmetry on, we can't bridge the way we want to. Oh. I'm trying to think of what the best way is to connect this to this. But when I'm repairing stuff, there we go. And then we use target weld, and I can say center. Oh, no, what did I just do? No, I need to be in vertex mode if I want to target weld that way. And then target weld this one. Oh, it didn't. Haha. Sometimes it can be hard to tell whether you got it or not. And yeah, now you can see that these faces, they do need to be softened a little bit, because they were made to be. Oh, let me reset this. Huh. You can always reset any settings. There we go. So I average them out. There we go. No more sharp edges where I put that new thing in. And actually, that seems to have solved a bit of another problem I had. I have to select more of the faces when I average it, because it didn't include some of those, and so we can see the seams. There we go. But getting rid of this one fixed that other one that I had there. So who knows at this point? And now I can go back to my smooth tool, because the underneath of this is very bumpy looking. You can see these corners. A little bit of that is the fact that there's just not that much resolution. This video is ended up being as much about other solutions as it is about the Poly Sculpt tools. And I hope that part of that lesson is the fact that there is no panacea for anything. There is no, this solves all of your problems style solution to anything. There's no one problem. I can use the smooth tool down here to help get, round this out a little bit. But the reality is, if I want them to be that much rounder, I need more resolution. So they're always going to be a little bit pointy until we, smooth it. And this is one thing you want to be checking. And now I'm looking at it going, oh, they're pretty round, except that they're too long. Like, his legs shouldn't be so forwards and backwards shaped. They should be a little bit chubbier. So then I put it back to 1, and I can actually now use my general sculpt tool if I want, with the strength, let's see, turned way down. Just a little bit. Oh, look at that. I can also go under here, bring in my brush a little. Geez, I can turn that down even further. There we go. And it doesn't really matter which way I'm facing on this tool. What matters is that the brush is set to pull these out away from the average surface direction, right? Then we gotta make sure we go in here and get that one. And you can see I'm changing these. It's affecting something over here. There's not a lot of resolution right here. So when I move one of these, this is being asked to do too much. But it's a start. It's once we get the shape the way we want it, we can add more resolution in afterwards. We would need some here too, for sure. Definitely need something here. Oh, I'm adding that in now. Insert edge loop. Right? Because we need, there we go. We need more underneath there. We need more going on underneath there for sure. And it's funny now that I rounded these things out, you can see that the face normals got all a little bit funny. Not unexpectedly. So again, we can average these things. There we go. Now they're a little bit chunkier. At least the front one is. Oh, look at that. Look at that. That's what I wanted. And that's what I would do to the back legs as well. Just not here because you don't need to watch me do that. And then we can do the same thing here. The first thing I would do is definitely average them normals. And then go into object mode so I could grab one of these tools. And what would I want to do? So Grunty's tail is actually meant to be a little bit like pinched in there. Well, actually it's meant to be pretty flat. It is still a little bit of a mess. You can see it's kind of like the light doesn't know what to do. So I should probably go in there a little bit. Maybe, not sure. Maybe I should bevel it. Or no, I don't want to. Well, this end anyways. But going in with the relax tool or the smooth tool a little bit, probably the smooth tool. On very gentle settings, just to kind of like maybe help me deal with the lighting a little bit. Because that shouldn't be looking like that. All right. Now the tool I haven't gone over here yet, though there's a video for it this week, is the soft select tool. That could also be useful. I don't use it as much as other professional modelers, but basically, if I wanted to, bring the face out a little bit, to round things out, you could use the soft select tool in here. I find the sculpt tools to be much more intuitive. So I do tend to prefer working with those. So you can see I'm rounding it out ever so gently. This is an artifact of me working in Photoshop. This is like a Photoshop kind of thing, where you slowly, or just working with charcoal or something like that, where you slowly build up the shape. So I can round his face out. Definitely, as soon as you start using these tools, though, you're going to think, oh, I need more edge loops everywhere. Everywhere in the universe needs more edge loops. Because the sculpt tool works well with more resolution. Yeah, that went in the right spot. Now remember, once you add that resolution, that is a lot you now have to deal with. So keep that in mind. Don't go crazy. This is probably a lot for me to be bringing in. Wait, what tool am I on here? There we go. Wonder why things are being weird. Oh, too much. Doesn't take much. But yeah, there we go. You can bring his face out a little. Which tool you use is going to, your mileage may vary. It just depends on how you like to work. I wanna, oh, there, now we're starting to look. It's amazing what a profile will do for a character. Now it's starting to look like the character I know and love. And you can see those average normals are going to hell as soon as I as soon as I change it, because it is changing it based on the average normal. So it's kind of thing where you'd have to go in and like kind of re-smooth it out. Ooh, that pulled, oh no, it didn't pull it down. It looks like it pulled it down. Yay, it's starting to look like my character. Um, but you can use the soft select to get a lot of these same results. It just, for me, it's less intuitive. I don't tend to use it as much, but it is absolutely a valid tool to handle these sorts of things. And I can also, no, I would for those eyes, I would indent them, extrude them in. All right, so hopefully this little practical demonstration of fixing things up will help a lot of you. Um, Again, I will average the normals to help with those parts. But I'm much happier with the shape now. And now that I've done all this, actually, the other thing I could do is use the relax tool again a little bit, to fix them up. So it is a back and forth like before, but I hope this demonstration has kind of shown you how these things can be put to practical effect, rather than just squishing a sphere or a plane around.